I went to the pursuit of truth. It's going to be a quick one. I expect when people hear it, they're going to think it's very conspiratorial. I assume that's the right way of using it. I was just thinking about this, the energy crisis and the bills, and thinking to myself, well, I want this war to be over in 2023 because I can't afford to keep going on like this. It's so difficult, and I'm sure for a lot of other people, they've lost homes, they're on the streets, maybe even committed suicide because of the financial difficulties that we in the West haven't really had to deal with, that have been, and this is why it should make us feel aware of the suffering that's been going on around the world all this time. I shouldn't use the word around the world. This place we found ourselves upon, because people have been suffering like this all this time, and we've been thinking, yeah, this system's great. Let's keep doing the same things. But it was making me think that, and I wanted like this war to finish. And then I was thinking, is this the idea? Is it really about war? I don't know, it just seems, obviously the climate change thing has been going on. What's a better way to solve the problem? Because people aren't going to stop using cars. The businesses aren't going to stop. But if, of course, you make gas and electricity expensive, well, then they would. Look at how people now are choosing food over warmth. Is this the way to save the planet? This was what the real mission is? Or is it about businesses getting money? I don't know, but it just doesn't make quite sense the way Putin is going about this special operation or war, whatever you want to call it. He's only putting a little bit of military in. I mean, we've always been made to worry about Russia, that they're like America. They match them on nuclear weapons. They match them on, no one would want to go to war with them like that. No one would want to go to war with America or China because of the sheer power. So how are they losing against Ukraine, even though I know the West are helping? Maybe that's why, I don't know. But I wonder whether this is some kind of machination, some kind of bigger plan, that this isn't about war. This is about maybe saving the planet through stopping us using energy, businesses and etc. Because everyone's like cost cutting now because it's so expensive. Everyone is, so that must be helping the climate because of this. By proxy. So, because it doesn't make sense. Why, if he wanted to finish Ukraine, he could, because he keeps saying he's not doing a proper full-scale war. Why wouldn't you? Look at how Iraq and Afghanistan were won by the West and America. They didn't do special operations. They bombed the shit out of them. You don't remember seeing those videos of planes flying over, bombs going over the horizon? The same things that, the atrocities the Americans are now saying the Russians committed, the West committed in Iraq and Afghanistan and Vietnam. And then I was thinking about like war, that war can no longer be fought in the way that it used to be fought in the conventional historical way of like people and soldiers and stuff like that, and tanks and bombs. Is more subtle than that now. Look how this war, Russia and Ukraine, has affected us all. How we're all tightly bound together. How shelves are now empty again. The food costs going up, electricity, gas, all this stuff going up because of a war that doesn't really have anything really to do with us other than us trying to help out a fellow European, based on the system that we live within, the division of land. So what is this really about? Because if Putin wanted to beat Ukraine, he could just send his jets over, all of them, do a proper out-and-out war, blow the shit out of it like America did Iraq and Afghanistan. America making out that they care about people now. All these big generals and etc., all they worry about is their contracts and money and all that, like they did with Iraq and Afghanistan. Look how much money was made out of that. These things aren't necessarily like, because we think about the Second World War and other wars about, conventional war. So I'm just wondering, is this just, is there a group of people that are pulling the strings to this? Is it Putin? Is it the world leaders? Is it someone else that whispers in their ear and, knows how they are, and, like a sort of a Game of Thrones type of thing? The ball chap. So is this the way that it's done? Because it doesn't make sense. If Putin wanted this, historical legacy. He would just do what America did in Iraq and Afghanistan, and a full-out war, and this would be over. So why is it dragging on? Why is it going, he's losing face, losing lots of battles. Yeah, I know, maybe it's because the West are helping out, and that's really why, because it isn't really Russia versus Ukraine, it's Russia versus the rest of the world, and maybe that's why. But then he isn't going a full-out war, is he? He isn't. We aren't seeing the same pictures, and we know he said himself that he's not, doing a full-out war. He's only got a few people and a few bits of the stuff going out there. Now, originally it was because the idea of that he wanted to, like Iraq, when America wanted to win the hearts, and he thought they would just, welcome in with open arms. But that hasn't happened. So why hasn't he, gone to that default, like, well, let's just attack them and blow it up and take it over, and that's it. We're never going to win their hearts. We just want to get the land. We want to show how strong we are. So maybe this isn't what it's really about. Maybe it is about putting us in this quagmire. And, maybe it is because of the planet and saving that, because they know that asking people to cut back isn't going to work. If they try for years, people aren't going to stop driving their cars. People aren't going to stop eating meat and all that kind of stuff, or do the things that needed to do if this climate change thing is true. So it just makes me think that, is that what this is really about? Or maybe it's about putting us in this situation so that we feel grateful for our leaders and our masters. Some kind of like, if you think of 1984 or Animal Farm, the way the machinations were, created there to keep us in that farm, that world. Is that what this is really about? I don't know, because it doesn't seem to be about war. It doesn't seem to be about occupying land like it traditionally is. So maybe this is more subtle than that. Anyway, that's my idea. Put your comments, likes. I know it's going to seem very conspiratorial. Just came into my head, so I thought, I think I've mentioned it before. Anyway, put your comments and whatever you think. Take care, easy, God bless and peace. And never be afraid to express your mind, because, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. But what's the harm in saying it? I'm not trying to persuade people to think my way. I'm not trying to say, this is true or whatever. I just found it interesting and wondered whether this could be something like a George Orwellian future war in that way.